Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ is Lord. Let's not waste no more time. Let's get right into it. So, the LA Clippers have a very, very, very sad history of teams, players, coaches, and I was thinking about this the other day. Okay. I thought about the failure of the Portland Trailblazers big men throughout the years. Okay. Bill Walton. Now, obviously, Bill Walton had some pretty productive years when he was with the Portland Trailblazers, but injuries plagued him throughout his first couple of years with the Trailblazers. Obviously, 1975 and 1976. 77, he led the Blazers to the NBA title. Got injured late in the 78 season and never was the same. So Portland's big man, Bill Walton, Sam Bowie, Greg Oden, obviously. People talk about Portland's history of failed big men. Well, I was thinking about the Clippers' history of failed big men. And yes, Bill Walton. Played only like 14 games between 1980 and 1983, I believe, for the Clippers, who were in San Diego at that time. He played in only 14 games in 1980. Sat out all of 1980-81. Sat out all of 1982. Obviously missed the entire 78-79 season with the Portland Trailblazers. But, so the Clippers' history of failed big men. Bill Walton, Michael Olowokandi. And the thing about Michael Olowokandi was that he had never played basketball up until the time he went to college at Pacific. Michael Olowokandi had never played basketball, nor did he know basketball terminology. Okay. So he didn't know what the block was. Going down to the block was. He didn't know the difference between man-to-man defense, and he didn't know the difference between zone defense. Okay. So he was behind when he went to the University of Pacific. But throughout his 4 years there, he improved. And obviously, first overall pick by the Clippers in 1998, only averaged 9 points his rookie season. And the Clippers hired Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to work with them. Okay, they hired Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to work with them, and he did show some improvement. Olowokandi did, but it was said that he didn't take criticism well. He didn't take advice well. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar really couldn't get hit through to him like he wanted to. So, Olowokandi, another part of the Clippers failed big man. But I would say the one that I found probably the most is a guy by the name of Benoit Benjamin. Okay. And that's who I'm primarily going to discuss today among the Clippers' failed big men. Benoit Benjamin. Okay. Let's see. So Benoit Benjamin, I believe he lost his father at 9 years old to a car accident when he was little. Yeah. So yeah, he had a bit of a rough upbringing. But he was a pretty good basketball player in high school. He averaged 29 points per game and 19 and a half rebounds per game. Okay. So, and he chose to go to college at Creighton College, who was coached by, at that time, Willis Reed. Okay, Willis Reed was the coach of Creighton. So having the opportunity to play for Willis Reed appealed to Benoit Benjamin, Hall of Famer. However, when he arrived at Creighton, he was overweight. He was 280 pounds. Okay. That was like 20 pounds above his preferred playing weight. No. Scratch that. That was 40 pounds. 40 pounds above his playing weight of 240. Okay. So when he got to Creighton, Willis Reed told him, hey, you're going to have to lose some weight and change your habits. That's what Willis Reed said. You're going to have to lose some weight, get in shape, change your habits. Okay. And so by his junior year, he was averaging 21.5 points per game, 14 rebounds per game, and 5 blocks per game. Benoit Benjamin, when he was a junior at Creighton. So, then he was drafted by the Clippers, and you know how cheap the Clippers were when they were bought by Donald Sterling back in the early 80s. Okay. The Clippers were one of the cheapest the Clippers were one of the cheapest you-know-whats in the league, okay? And so when the player is drafted, usually there's a mentor who shows them the ropes, shows them what life is going to be like in the NBA. But when you get drafted by the Clippers, I read that when you get drafted by the Clippers, they really didn't have a mentor. The Clippers really didn't have a guy to show you the ropes, okay? Instead, the Clippers offered lowball contracts. Okay, they lowballed you during contract negotiations, which is a result of Donald Sterling's cheap ass, okay? Which I'll get into some other players that he let get it away in another video. But yeah, so when Benoit Benjamin was drafted by the Clippers, okay, he said his goal was to be one of the greatest players in the NBA. Okay, those were his own words. Benoit Benjamin said, I want to be one of the greatest ever. That's my goal. Okay. So, that was Benoit Benjamin. But, there were some who had questions. Okay. They had questions about his work ethic, his attitude, and his effort, okay? And there was some in the NBA, there was footage of him yelling at teammates, arguing with his coaches, complaining to the refs, and more often than not, putting in a substandard effort, okay, at Creighton, okay. So those were questions that were hounding him as he entered the 1985 draft, being drafted by the Clippers. And so Don Chaney took over midway through the 84-85 season, okay? And Don Chaney was Benoit Benjamin's first coach, okay? And so I just mentioned the contract negotiations. The Clippers and Benoit Benjamin couldn't work out a deal on a contract. So Don Chaney didn't like the fact that Benoit Benjamin, he had to start training camp without Benoit Benjamin. And it was Don Chaney who said, if he misses even 2 days of practice, that's going to set him back half a season. Well, altogether, Benjamin missed 10 days of training camp. Okay? He missed 10 days of training camp. So that probably set him back a few years. I don't know. But through the first 28 games of his rookie season, 1985-86, Benoit Benjamin averaged 5 points and 5 rebounds. Didn't Benoit Benjamin say he wanted to be one of the greatest players ever? That's my goal. But yet, through the first 28 games of the rookie season, you're averaging 5 points and 5 rebounds per game. I'm just saying. But, and it was Don Chaney who said, again, he had the talent. He was skilled, but he didn't have the drive. That's what Don Chaney said about Benoit Benjamin. He didn't have the drive. And so Don Chaney was having lunch with Bill Russell one day. And he asked Bill Russell, can you work with Benjamin? Russell said, sure. Okay. So he improved. So he improved for a brief time. When Bill Russell worked with him, he improved for a brief time. He had a game in January where he scored 18 points versus the Lakers versus Kareem. In a victory over the Lakers, okay. But that brief period, he slid right back down to where he was. Okay. He slid right back down to where he was. And it was during one practice, he showed up 15 minutes late. Don Chaney was addressing the team at mid-court. And he yelled for Benoit Benjamin to come and join them. And so he shows up 15 minutes late. He casually ties his shoes. He's yelling at Benjamin to get into the huddle at mid-court. And Don Chaney noticed that he never changed expressions. Okay? And it was said by Don Chaney, he didn't care. He said Benoit Benjamin just didn't care. Okay? So, Don Chaney, who was considered a nice NBA coach. Okay, Don Chaney was considered a nice NBA coach. He was so infuriated by Benoit Benjamin's indifference to showing up late. He was so infuriated that he actually charged Benoit Benjamin. He was about to go after Benoit Benjamin. Okay. But Cedric Maxwell stepped in and stopped Don Chaney. Okay. Well, that seemed to wake up Benoit Benjamin. Okay. He was named NBA Rookie of the Month in the month of March. Nearly 20 points per game, 12 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Okay. Pretty good. NBA Rookie of the Month. So, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks per game. Okay. And so, there was some optimism at the end of the season with his performance at the end of the season. But 86, 87 came around, and the Clippers had lost one of their best players, Derek Smith, to a knee injury the previous season. So it was thought of that Benoit Benjamin would be taking the reins from Derek Smith. However, when training camp started, he showed up at 272 pounds. Benoit Benjamin did, which was 26 pounds above his playing weight. And Don Chaney, I guess he never held back when it came to Benoit Benjamin. Don Chaney said, I guess he spent more time at the dinner table than the basketball court. And so, oh man. If you knew the history of the LA Clippers, you would just shake your head and crack up laughing at some of the things. At some of the things you would read, okay? So there was an exhibition game against the Golden State Warriors, okay? Benoit Benjamin shows up with 2 left shoes. Benoit Benjamin shows up with 2 left shoes. How the hell does that have to happen? How did you show up with 2 left shoes? He ended up not playing that night. He didn't play that night because he showed up with 2 left shoes. I read that and that's sort of like Herman Thomas losing his helmet in the Super Bowl versus the Washington Redskins. How do you lose your helmet before the Super Bowl? Okay. How do you bring 2 left shoes to a basketball? That's the sad history of the LA Clippers. Anyway, that was pretty much a forerunner of the season that was to come for the Clippers. They went 12-70 in 1986-87, okay? And Benoit Benjamin ended up, he averaged 11 points in his rookie season. I know I just mentioned he got NBA Rookie of the Month for March with his play in March. So he ended up averaging 11 points per game in his rookie season. Then he averaged pretty much the same in 86-87, which is one of the reasons why they went 12-70. Okay. And then Marcus Johnson actually got injured. One of the Clippers' best players, Marcus Johnson, actually got injured running into Benoit Benjamin's stomach. He actually had a vertebrae injury in his neck. He ran into Benoit Benjamin's stomach. Okay. So he got injured running into Benoit Benjamin. So gotta love the Clippers. Gotta love the Clippers. Then in 86-87, after the 86-87 season, he was quoted as saying, I'm going to kick back and relax and do whatever I want during the off season after the 86-87 season, which all goes back to what he said when he got drafted. I want to be one of the greatest players ever. That's my goal. And then he said he was satisfied with the way he played in the 86-87 season. I wonder what Don Chaney would have to say about that. I wonder what Don Chaney would have to say about that. I want to be one of the best players ever. That's my goal. So he never really lived up to his potential his entire career. And after he was traded mid-season to the Seattle Supersonics midway through the 90-91 season, he said, I never felt like I reached my potential with the LA Clippers. Nah, you didn't reach your potential because you were fat, you were lazy, and you didn't have the drive, as Don Chaney said. Go figure. Now, Benjamin had his moments. He had his moments when he averaged 16 points in the 88-89 season. And he had a game against the Charlotte Hornets where he had 34 points, 23 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Okay? He had his moments, but Benoit Benjamin, nah. I want to be one of the greatest ever. That's my goal. Well, to be one of the greatest ever, you gotta have the drive, like MJ, like Kobe. Gotta have that drive. It's like Don Chaney said, he didn't have the drive. All right, that's it. That's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. Peace out. God bless. See y'all on the next one.